Welcome to the September, really is it September 2nd, Rotary Club of Newport meeting. So welcome everybody. I know we'll get a few more folks tuning in here shortly. So I don't see our greeter, Sonetta, I think is our greeter. So would anybody like to do or lead us in the flag salute? And I want to I see Tanya's hand go up first. So I first want to say what John's going to do is we're going to mute everybody else, and it'll kind of be the motive going forward. So you'll just be yourself, nice, clear, and so you'll lead and follow all the way through there, Tanya. Thank you. So go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. But I think it goes a little bit better like that. If we have just one person, then we don't have the double or feedback or those things. So great on that. So there's quite a few things that have happened, quite a few things that are happening, and then some things I want to kind of report. And depending on who else tunes in, will be maybe more or less. And then I want to try and leave enough time for a presentation. So, and then I think Bob's probably also got a few things to talk about. So first, I want to kind of share. Last week after our meeting, we had a stand-up board meeting. And I put it to the board to ask for if we can sponsor a scholarship for the Leadership Lincoln program. And the board actually went above and beyond, and they said, well, why don't we do two? Knowing that, you know, a big part of what we do is help folks with scholarships, whether they're young or old. And so with the Leadership Lincoln being in place for 29 years, and our own John Baker had led that for a majority of that time. They've updated some things and some programs and some of the information, but it's still going, still very active. They've got about 20 members, 20 people signed up, and we were able to sponsor and support two. First one is Jason Holland, which is the new OCCA director at, if you don't know that, it's the Oregon Council for the Arts. He's the new director, so new in town. So trying to get his feet wet and trying to figure out who the leaders and the movers and shakers and start to create relationships and community there. And then we also sponsored Billy Betchel, which she's, I think it's a she, but Billy is with the Newport Parks and Rec. So also, again, somebody out there that is very, relied upon in our community and, keeping things up to speed, and we'll come along and help out where we can with like programs that Sylvia has. So great, and thank you again to the board for approving that. I think that's wonderful. I wanted to mention we received a few nice thank you letters from Samaritan System. So particularly Samaritan Foundations, and Ursula Marinelli is the director there. So she thanked us for our support from Rotary. They'd also sent a couple of letters for individuals that have sponsored, and particularly the breast cancer treatment and the Coastbusters that's coming up. So there's a few folks that have registered. So she shared that, and so great on that, and continue to talk with, if you're interested, find out from Sonia, and she may want to give a quick minute report about that and how that's going. But great cause, great effort. And again, where Ursula signed those, I think that was a nice personal touch. One of the other things going on is we're trying to talk about literacy and education and helping kids. I received a piece from one of the clubs back in Ohio, a Rotary Club back in Ohio, and they've done and created a program that is much like the dictionary program, but it's actually books and picture books and bookmarks and those kinds of things. So there's an example that we can look at, and potentially when we can get back together, or maybe when we'd be allowed to go back into the schools, there's a program there that we could look at and have some good examples, and probably could talk to that club's community service director and get some ideas on what they've done. But a real nice program there, and I think it really helps also introduce Rotary, again, on the track for Interact and Rotaract, and then on up through the ranks there. So I think that's a great program. I don't see Paul Kimberly. Is Paul on here today? Some more folks here. No Paul. Okay, I was going to give him a shout out there, so he's done something good. So let's see. Sylvia, I know, wants to talk for just a moment about community service program. So let's let Sylvia talk for just a moment.
Good morning, Rotarians. Good afternoon, I guess. I'm wrapping up the collection for Grace Wins, and we haven't had a lot of donations into the boxes. I'm fairly certain that's not because you don't support Grace Wins. You know, they do a great job for the homeless, and if you stop and consider what they do serving the unwashed masses, and I do mean that literally, I mean, correct use of the word literal, because people are coming to their door not just for lockers or for addresses or for coffee or for food, but for showers and to get their laundry done. And it's a great service for people here. So stop and think for a minute what it would take to pay you to do that job and be at the other side of the window. And if your answer is not enough money in the world, like someone already told me, no, they don't do it for the money. They do it for the compassion and the ability to help people too. And we want to support that. So I'd like to create an easy button. And if going out and shopping isn't your thing, if you would consider just pledging $20 to Grace Wins. Mark Miranda said he's got no problems charging your account and then just sending Grace Wins a check. And if you could do more, that would be awesome. Just maybe type it in the chat or give a shout for those who'd be willing to donate to Grace Wins directly. So do we have any takers?
I'll take 20. I'll put it in the chat.
Great, thanks, Richard.
All right.
Keith and Diane will do $50 each, so I'll put it in the chat.
Thanks.
All right, Sonia or Sylvia, thank you for that. And again, we'll continue to get those in the chat and make
Thank
sure
you. Yeah, thank you very much. We'll just do it that way. Make it easy for everyone.
Perfect, perfect, very good. I wanted to say is that, so our youth service chair and who's helping with that for Interact, I've got a nice banner and easel that Megan bought, just like she bought the new one we saw there a few weeks ago at the Elks with the 5-way test. But I've got a nice easel banner for the Interact Club to work in the school or whatnot, so I can deliver that to somebody's business, home, or to the school, or if somebody wants to come by and pick it up. I've got that here, so it's in a nice tidy box. So I do have that. So let me know where I should take that or who wants to come pick it up, that kind of a thing. So good on that. Okay, I also received a nice letter from Team Rubicon. Remember, we had the program from the, and I can't remember his phrase, but gorilla in a cast iron bucket or something like that. But nice letter about how they thanked us for presenting and for allowing them to present, and then the contribution. And I think it may have been like a culmination of the $50 and one or two other things, but nice recognition or acknowledgement from Team Rubicon there. Okay, I did forget to mention, is there any guests or any visiting Rotarians on the line? I wanted to make sure and acknowledge that and not get in too much trouble with Bob. Any guests on here?
I've got a guest, I guess, hopefully soon not to be a guest, but Dave Adolph, who is signed up to join us, is here with us today.
Welcome. Any others? Any visiting Rotarians? I know we have Ken Franzen on there. So welcome, Ken. I think everybody's all.
I guess I'm your speaker, so I'm a guest, but you probably all know I'm here already.
That's right. And it's, you go by Mel or Melissa, what do you prefer?
Melissa,
All
and
right.
my email address is just Mel from a long, long time ago. So people who read my email call me Mel, but people in person normally call me Melissa.
Wonderful. Okay, well, I think that that kind of rounds that out. Let's see. I'll get. We're going to have Guy Faust who's going to give us a little history moment. So, Guy, why don't you go ahead and take the floor there? Guy Faust on our history minute in Rotary.
So I told this story years ago, but we got a lot of new members since then, so I'm going to give it a repeat. I've entitled this story, The Day the Newport Rotary Club Almost Burnt Down JC Market. It was my first year as a Rotarian, and I was trying to do good. And so I signed up to come in and do some Rotary work. It also happened to be the same day that the Labor or Loyalty Day parade was. And we had a fundraising thing going at JC Mark with this gigantic barrel barbecue. And it was set up on the sidewalk. And note that right behind us was a bunch of firewood. And again, we were trying to raise money by selling this chicken. The chicken was donated by JC Market, but it was in like these cardboard boxes and it was frozen solid. You needed a pickaxe to break up this chicken. So I showed up on the second shift in mid-afternoon. The parade was in full swing. There were old cars going and marching bands and kids with pets. And luckily for us, there's also a fire truck going by. I took over my duties from John Baker and asked John, what do I need to know? And I'll never forget the elaborate instructions he gave me and how much help it was. He said, just keep cooking chicken. Thank you, John. So I noticed three things. One, there was a long line of people holding paper plates waiting for their chicken. Some of the chicken on the barbecue was sort of half cooked and the embers were getting very low. So after waiting for a while and waiting, we finally served that chicken half thawed out to our waiting customers. The embers were nearly dead at that time. So me and another Rotarian on duty, and I can't remember the person's name, we added all kinds of briquettes to the barbecue, along with a lot of lighter fluid. And still we had to wait about 10 minutes before anything took off. Meanwhile, the plate holders line was getting longer and longer. So we loaded up this grill, every inch of this grill with this frozen chicken. Eventually, the chicken started to thaw out. The grease started to drip down. Flames started to flare up. Then in like less than a minute, the flames were about 1 foot high. Grease is now starting to pour down on the flames, and the flames are about 3 feet high, and it's hot. On the side, there was flat bar, and I tried to close the lid, but it was so hot that the flat bar had bent, and so the lid couldn't be closed. Now the flames are going higher and higher. Unfortunately, a fire truck happened to be going down. They turned at JC Market. Now the flames are about 10 feet high, and they come over and they put it out with some kind of a fire retardant. The chicken was burnt to a crisp, but the fire retardant made it look sort of like a nice new sauce. Unfortunately, we couldn't sell any of that to the waiting customers, even though we called it firebrand chicken. But there's some good news resulted from this. The barbecue grill is now retired for good. No lawsuits were filed against the Rotary Club for botulism food poisoning. And the frozen chicken has never been on our menu since then. Because of my fine experience, I've been asked a few times to barbecue for the Rotary Club, but we do hamburgers and I bring my own propane grill from now on. So as Paul Harvey would say, now you know the rest of the story about Newport Rotary Club. Thank you very much.
Great job, Guy. We appreciate that and all your stories and how you present it and do storytelling. That's just wonderful. So thank you for that. Okay, without further ado, let's introduce Bob to take the floor and give us an update on what we've done right and what we're proud of.
Hello there, Rotarians.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Bob.
Um,
Um, That's better. That's better. Melissa and Sonetta, Kind of missed you as greeters, but what can you do? So anyway, I thought both of you did a good job, even though you didn't do anything. How did you like having Lola for 2 weeks, gang? Aren't you glad to see me again? Huh? Hey, there you go. Who is the real John Zagel? I see two John Zagels and.
Yeah, I have two computers going on here.
Oh,
So-
okay, all right. All
Trying to
right, I
make this
understand.
meeting work.
Yeah,
There's actually 3 there, I see, actually.
uh-huh. Are there any happy bucks out there? Come on, don't everybody raise their hand at once. Dave
I'll
Heater, where are you? I know you're in there someplace. Oh, there's Keith. Keith has got something.
Yeah, I guess, let's see, my number 3 grandson is a junior in high school and he's a starting quarterback in their team. And they had their first game on Friday and they beat the opponents 35-12. So I guess that makes me about $47 happy for Spencer Nelson, the team quarterback on the Fountain Hills Falcons.
Wow, way to go. Way to go. Congratulations, Keith. I bet you're proud. Dave Heater,
I'm here, Bob.
there you are, yeah. Don't you have a wife that's going to have a birthday pretty soon?
I do.
You must be happy about that.
I'm happy she's going to celebrate a birthday. Yes, that's better than the alternative. Absolutely.
And also you're having an anniversary before much longer.
We did have an anniversary. You missed it. So you should be fined for that.
Dave, that doesn't work that way.
Okay. Just a
Yeah,
suggestion.
we're back to your wife's birthday now.
So I can't give her age away and she's not here. So I'll just include the anniversary and her birthday and I'll give $100 to my Paul Harris.
Way to go, Dave. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Dustin Capri, I know you're out there someplace. Dustin, where is Dustin? He left us, didn't he?
Yes, Bob. How you doing?
Oh, there's Dustin. Say, Dustin, I hear you went for a little jog the other day.
I did with your son. We had a blast.
Oh, tell us a little bit about it.
Rob and I competed in the Hood to Coast relay, which was wonderful. It was 199 miles of fun from up at Mount Hood all the way down to Seaside. So we didn't sleep and we literally ran our asses off. So.
Oh my gosh, such language. Yeah. Oh, well, wow. Yeah. Well, what are we gonna do about that? So how long does that take you?
It was about, well, Rob's on here, isn't he? I think it was probably like, the team started at 7 a.m. and it finished up at 11 a.m.
7 a.m. to 11 a.m. 7 a.m. when?
Friday morning.
Oh, Friday morning. And then you finished up at 11 on Saturday?
Yeah.
Wow. Are you two the only ones on the team?
No, there's 12 of us. So,
Oh my God.
bunch
So
of
you run what, a mile and then?
it's about 5-6 mile stretches. Some of them are 7, and then you pass the baton on to the next person. So.
Oh. If you were the sergeant of arms, the Newport Rotary Club, what would you do? Would you fine Rob Wienert for that?
Oh, most definitely. Do you know how fast Rob Wienert went? Rob Wienert.
No, I don't.
Rob, you did 5 miles and doing 5:30 or 5:41s or something.
Uh-huh. Wow, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Well, how much would you fine him?
50 at least.
50? Hey, Rob.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's the only time he calls me
Yes.
sir. If you
Sergeant at Arms.
were sergeant of arms, would you
Sergeant.
fine Dustin?
Yeah, totally.
How much would you fine him?
Boy, he ran some fast legs as well. He had a nice flat one where he really picked up some speed.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think I should do? He fined you
Well-
$50.
Yeah, let's say the race was what, like 200 miles? So what if we just split that and we both did 100? How about?
I think that's fair.
You
that
think
fair?
that's fair, Dustin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it then. Good. Thank you, guys. That was very generous. Mhm.
Very generous.
Are there any other happy dollars out there? Is Clara Little? She's not around, is she? I didn't see her in there today.
Brian Gardner has his hand up and then it's my turn.
Okay, Brian.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Oh, there you are, Brian. Yeah, I see you now.
Today is Gretchen and I's anniversary.
wow.
So it's been 21 years being married, and next month will be our 26th anniversary together from the beginning of law school. So I will be $100 happy for us, and another $50 happy for school sports starting and other activities that the girls are having fun in. And that towards my Paul Harris. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you. Sylvia, you're happy about something.
I'm happy about the response so far to Grace Wins. We're at $250 now. I'll do $5 happy bucks to the general fund and keep those pledges coming. They said on the drive at NPR this morning that random acts of kindness boost your cortisol levels. So let's keep those happy feelings going. Appreciate
Let's make that
so far.
Let's make that 250 into 300. I'll contribute 50.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Sonetta, where are you?
No.
We're on here a little bit ago. Sonetta. Oh, Sonetta. So there you are. Unmute yourself, Sonetta. Actually, it's not too bad. You can see her lips moving, but she's saying nothing.
Yeah. Here is why I have to disappear from moment to moment. You see him?
Oh, isn't that cute? Yeah. When did we get that? Sonetta, you're muted.
I know, I'm trying. There we go. Oh, it's been about 4 weeks.
My golly, you're doing a good job training that dog.
Well, it's really just his potty break time, but I'm also trying to double duty with looking at. No, look at this.
What's his name?
His name is Thunder.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, down he goes. But sorry, but that's why I disappear from the screen from time to time right now.
Well, I understand now. That's a good excuse. Hey, how was that wedding that you were going to go to last time I was here?
Oh, it went great. And I donated to Lola. You can ask her, or maybe to you, but it went well. It was 100-degree weather and everybody had to wear masks. And one of the groomsmen's car broke down, little things like that. But overall, they got married and it was beautiful.
Those are the things memory are made from.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what I said. Stories for later.
Good. Okay. Tanya, you had your hand up.
Yes, Bob. I am $25 happy for Newport High School sports activities back in person. And another $25 happy for Ducks games starting this weekend. Go Ducks.
Yeah. Well, we'll let that one go for now. We'll talk next week. Okay, anybody else?
Hey, Bob, I'm happy.
What are you happy about, Guy?
Bob, I went to a place called Cedar Creek Quarries, Inc. yesterday, and I got the last yard of topsoil. And because I am replanting a lawn and I needed some topsoil at Cedar Creek Quarries, Inc. And they came over and loaded up my pickup and they filled it up and I brought it home and now I am putting this down for my lawn. But I just want you to know there's a place out there called Cedar Creek Quarries, Inc. that I got this fine topsoil from. I'm $10 happy, that can go into any fund you want.
Sounds
know,
like a paid
guys-
advertisement for somebody, but I don't think
Yeah,
he's paying
it
yet.
almost is. But yeah, that guy is quite a character, isn't he? You know, coincidentally, I remember that barbecue. I was standing down in front of what was Bill Mishy's real estate office, and all of a sudden this big black cloud came up, and we actually thought JC Market was on fire. But yeah, it was Rotary Chicken. All right, I will contribute another $25 to Sylvia just because you went out to, what was the name of that place again?
It was called Cedar Creek Quarry.
Hey, if next time you go out, let me know and I'll help you load that pickup, if you know what I mean. Mhm. Okay, anybody else?
Thanks, Bob.
I got one last one for you, Bob, and I want to chip in $20 to Laura Kimberly's Paul Harris with all the work that she's done getting people signed up with David Adolph and Paul Skidema. So new members to be inducted very, very soon. But great job, Laura. I know she's working her tail off getting that and a lot more work. So good job. Hats off to Laura.
Thanks, Richard.
Well, great. Okay, with that, I'll pass it back to Richard. Richard?
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Bob. Great job. Great effort. Nice effort to Grace Winds and the folks there that have a little less than we do. So happy to help and support that effort. So next, I'd like to have Sylvia Pauley introduce our program. So go ahead, Sylvia.
I don't know about you folks, but I'm pretty bad at standing around when it hits the fan and there's a disaster. I want to leap in and help, but it's always good to know what to do. And as a response to Hurricane Katrina and other disasters, FEMA has created a Citizens Emergency Response Team program. There are various chapters within the county, and I am in the South County because I live in Walport. Also attend the Newport meetings on occasion because that's where my office is. And I am honored and pleased to have Melissa Chown, the president of the South County chapter, speak with us today. So Melissa, take it away.
All right, thank you very much. So I think I've successfully unmuted. Let's see if I can get the presentation to pop up too. What is CERT? Can anybody see that?
Yep.
Oh, good. So Sylvia got us started there with CERT. The initials stand for Community Emergency Response Team. And CERT is a training program put together by FEMA. So it's a nationwide program, and it prepares you to help yourself, your family, and your neighbors in the event of a disaster. The program has 8 particular units that you go through, and then a final exam. And it's very practical, hands-on training, which happens locally. Most people go through the program in an 8 or 9 week scenario. When I did mine in Newport, it was like 2 hours every Tuesday night for 10 weeks, I think it was. Some other groups, like our South County group, have started doing an intensive weekend program for people whose schedules can't do every single wek. And so we put hours together for a Saturday and a Sunday one week and a Saturday the following. And there is this test at the end. So let me tell you a little bit about the things that CERTs are able to do once you've completed the training program. So this is CERT basic training, and then you become a member of a CERT team. Once you are on a CERT team, there's basically these 3 things that we do. The first is assisting emergency services personnel, so first responders, when we are called out by them, when we're activated to some sort of event, and we work under whoever has activated us. There's also the second one here is like a self-activation. So if there is a major disaster, the CERT team, the CERT members can self-activate even without having communication from our sponsoring agency, and can help out and do some of the minor functions that emergency services first responders would be doing in a disaster situation. And I'll get into those in just a little bit. The third thing that CERTs do is preparing the families and communities prior to emergencies. So emergency preparedness basically makes it easier for us to cope with an emergency if you've planned for it. And so that's a really big part of CERT, is having to do less responding by doing more planning for disasters and emergencies. So this is the what CERT teams do post disaster. And these are the things which the CERT members learn in the basic training. And it's this training, as I said, organized by FEMA. So it's got a national curriculum so that it's shared, so that different first responders who might activate a CERT team know that they can rely on some standardization. So we can treat life-threatening injuries until professional assistance is available. That's basically only the 3 killers. We're not first aid folks. We are not EMTs, but basically making sure that airways are open, that people aren't suffering from shock, and treating some amount of bleeding. That's about as far as we get on the medical side of things. There's a unit in the CERT basic training on psychology of disasters. And so that helps you to interact with people and talk with them about the emotional stress of a disaster. Locating and turning off utilities, extinguishing small fires. These are all things you learn how to do in the basic training, and then conducting some light search and rescue operations. So those are the post-disaster things that we're trained to do and could be expected to do if we get a disaster situation. So when you join a CERT team, you get a CERT pack like this, and there's not boots in it, but all these other things normally come along in your CERT pack. Every team has a different sort of level of supplies that they are able to fund and give to people. We're really lucky here in Lincoln County that we've got some really well supplied packs, thanks to the Lincoln County Emergency Management. And so I was thinking I should have brought my pack with me, but we've got all of the PP&E to be available and protect ourselves if there is a disaster situation, because that's one of the things that's really important in CERT, is starting with looking after yourself, and then your family, and then your neighbors, and going out from there. You can't be doing all of those things if you're not protecting yourself in the first place. So that's why our PP&E is very important. But what we're doing most of the time when there isn't a disaster is our community preparedness role. And community preparedness, like I said, is very important to make sure that everybody's ready when there is a disaster to lessen the impacts. So we do things like this presentation here, and you'll normally see us doing these non-disaster roles. So distributing preparedness materials. I was at the Walport Wednesday market one day. We have a booth there every other week with the fire department, talking to folks about what CERT can do and about preparedness. Participating in parade route management is actually one of the things we end up doing a lot. The CERT teams have been involved in traffic and crowd control for the Loyalty Days Parade every year, the Beachcombers Parade down in Newport every year. Recently, we were assisting our sponsoring fire department, which is Central Coast down in Walport, at their open house, so that having staff there from the CERT team, so that when they got called out on a fire, which actually happened, they still had some folks that were at the station and available to, you know, hand out the hot dogs and the important stuff. We assisted with the county's mask distributions last year. A lot of CERT team members were involved this year in assisting the county with the vaccination clinics in terms of getting the parking and coordinating people through that system. So those are the things that we're more often doing, are the community outreach, non-disaster things. So yes, you'll see us at things like this with the booth. And there's just a few more pictures of you'll often see us doing our own training events too. So we have ongoing training when you're with a CERT team. And so keep up on your skills. So you'll see us every so often, just like you see the fire department out doing their training, we're doing the same sort of thing. So the organization we mentioned already, that there's FEMA that sets this nationwide curriculum. So then we all have individual chapters, and your individual chapter has to be sponsored by a local government agency. And I'll actually flip through to this. So in Lincoln County, we've got 4 active chapters and the Teen CERT running through the school district. In Lincoln County, all of the chapters are sponsored by local fire districts. So I'm in the South Lincoln County CERT, and we are sponsored by the Central Coast Fire, which is based in Newport. But in other places around the state and around the country, there are cities that sponsor their CERT teams, or there are counties that do the same thing. Here we have a lot of assistance from Lincoln County. Lincoln County has something called LC5. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that from other contexts. Lincoln County Citizens Corps Coordinating Council. And so that coordinates the different volunteer groups, makes sure that the CERT groups are communicating with each other and sort of trying to get some consistency. And then when you sign up through the sheriff's department when you actually join a team. So they do the background checks and keep track of our volunteer hours and your training obligations. That all goes through the Lincoln County logistics system, which I'm sure some of you are all familiar with too. So I put some information here. If you're interested in any of the local chapters, there's a link on the Lincoln County Emergency Management site to each of the local chapters and contact information for those groups. One of the things that's normally posted on there is next upcoming CERT training. But given the COVID situation these days, we haven't got any local in-person training going on. There are some opportunities at the moment. Some other chapters have put together online training, which can be done. And one of the things about the training is once you've done the basic training, you can join your local team. You don't have to have done your training with your team necessarily. So I did my training in Newport, but I joined the South County team. And that's the benefit of the fact that the CERT is sort of has the curriculum and umbrella of FEMA to make sure that we all have got the same basic set of skills, which can be transferable. So if you move and you join your CERT team wherever you live now, then you know that everybody's got on the same basic level as you are. Ready.gov CERT page has a lot of information about the program in general, nationwide. And I put my email address on there in case anybody wanted to contact me directly about it. And I'd be happy to take any questions if there were any.
I've got a question, Melissa. So once you get certified, is it a lifetime certification? Is there a continuing education, or what does that process look like?
That's a very interesting question, actually. And so FEMA is not actually certain. FEMA does not define that, and local chapters define how often you should get recertified. Our chapter says that we are going to have our members recertify every year. Generally, what we've done in the past is when we've had new members come in from outside of the area, we've asked them, okay, if it's been kind of a while since you did your original CERT, especially if you weren't active in your prior group, would you be willing to do our research, or will you go back, will you go up to Newport and do the next sort of, the next basic that they have available and go through that process again? So there isn't really a actual requirement that you have to get recertified or that you are certified once you've done it. But it's one of those things that you really just want to keep up on your skills, and you want to know that everybody else who you're working with is up on their skills. So that's why our chapter is moving forward with a new requirement that everybody recert every year. And it doesn't mean going through the entire program again. It's just like a little recap.
Isn't it more like the 2-hour meeting where we go over a lot of the first aid things and some of
Yes.
the basics? And yeah, it's not the huge commitment.
No, it's not the same over again. But you want to keep your skills in check. So that's why we do that refresher.
Hey, Ken Franson here with a question. Are ham radio people, amateur radio licensed people still part of this CERT effort?
There are some people in our CERT chapter, and I know in all of the CERT chapters in the county, who we have all got CERT ham users in our chapters. And there's an effort at the moment to try and get that coordination a little better, so that the CERT groups in the actual disaster situation can communicate with each other with the assistance of our ham users. Yeah.
Melissa, I'd heard one time that essentially when the Cascadian fault happens, what will be, like the ham radio example, but what's another way to communicate, or what will be messages, or how can they get messages to folks in our area if there's any, any land here when that's said and done?
So the ham radios will definitely be important in that sort of scenario. But one of the things that we talk about with preparedness, and each, one of the good things about having local chapters is your local chapter focuses on whatever is important to you. And so our preparedness, it does have a lot to do with Cascadia and tsunami possible events. And one of the things we talk about is the fact that we're going to end up with islands, meaning that with the roads and the bridges going out, you're going to have little communities which may actually not be able to communicate with each other very well, might not be able to travel from one space to the other. So make sure that you've got everything you need in your area, or that other folks nearby do.
Wonderful. Any other questions for Melissa?
Yeah, I'd just like to add for people who are thinking about it, but are saying, geez, I don't have that kind of time commitment, that when I did the class, there was a lady who was in a wheelchair, and she was paralyzed pretty much from the chest down. And she said, well, I know I'm not ever going to go out and help other people, but I don't want to be a problem. I want to take care of myself. She said, I live out in the country. People might not be able to get to me for a while. So I appreciated her not being willing to be a victim. She, wasn't going to commit to going to lots of meetings or being out there for a response, but she's like, I am going to be knowledgeable in what to do for myself and my family. And that's great. If you can't help everyone, at least she wasn't part of the problem. So.
Yeah, that's definitely so important. I mean, that's what we're all doing, is trying to help ourselves first, so that we aren't a situation for the first responders, so the first responders can, if they're around, reach out those other folks that need it. Definitely.
Wonderful. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for speaking to us today. And
yeah,
a big part of what Rotary does is fights polio, for instance, and among other things, doing good in the world, water and education, and now focusing on the environment is our newest focus. But for you speaking to us today, we'd like to vaccinate 50 children against polio in your name. So I feel like that's a pretty good thing, and it certainly certainly helps out. There's just 2 countries left that have polio cases that we're tracking. And again, the worst places as far as war-torn areas, which Afghanistan and Pakistan, so very difficult to get that last bit done. So wanted to make sure and share that with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. A couple other announcements here, and then I'll get to our other reports there. Yeah, great job sharing that information with us. Thank you on that.
Thanks.
There is a new process. So when we're speaking about Interact or helping with kids or doing like the dictionary or book programs, there's actually a new vetting process that they unveiled. And Sonia was able to go to a meeting. I was unable to attend, but she went in our place. So I wanted to just share that our district governor is creating this, where if you're going to be interacting with individuals directly, young people, or giving them a ride or doing whatever the case, they want to do a background check. So just in the effort to make sure they're in safe situations and not put in, with individuals that may not be, whatever the case. So there is a process with that. So if you are participating in those programs, there is a new process. So let me know or check in with me or Sonia or Diane. We can help you make sure that that's taken care of. And then I do want to share with Sylvia too that Jim Lewis out at OSU Hatfield, we've talked recently, and he said that he's offering to let us, if we need more places to clean up, do prep work on, or maintain trails and things like that. That's a great estuary. It's a place that some of our folks here do go out regularly, but it's a nice area. And he said they just haven't had people participating and volunteering and doing those things because of COVID. But he said if you want to do that, there's a way if we can connect with that. So add that to your list of places to work on there, Sylvia.
You want to email me his contact information and we can take a look, see participation for outdoor things is pretty good. People don't mind rolling up their sleeves. They apparently don't want to go shopping. And one of my lessons is not just what do you support, but how do you want to support it? So I appreciate the great response so far for Grace Wins.
You bet. Great caveat there. So again, a great segue to mention about all the new members that we've had. And so again, hats off to Laura and all the things that she's doing. Of course, our Rotary president, Rotary International President, Sheikh Armetta is saying, everyone bring one. And I think we've all done a great job of, introducing people to Rotary and we've got some new folks, but let's not forget to keep them involved. And so if it's, one thing or another, or so projects or ways to volunteer, that's a big part of what we do. So I think make sure and keep that top of mind. Okay, so let's next now have a secretary's report. So I think Jim's on here somewhere. Let's hear from Jim.
Thank you, President Richard. We do have members present today. So our membership, we have 23 out of 57 for just over 40% organic. And when I applied makeups, we're up to 35 out of 58 for a grand total of 60% attendance. And I'd like to echo your thoughts about new members. It's really good to see new folks coming and new folks participating. And so that's a really gratifying thing to see. Member incentive today is Jeremy Burke, and he's not here, so it adds another $5. I think next week we'll be up to 15. And with that, I'll pass it over to Sonia for the big wheel and the 50-50 raffle.
All right, and I will share my screen for the big wheel, big deal. We have collected $65, so the big winner is going to win $32.50. And let's see who it is today.
Dun, 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 dun.
Patty, all right, congratulations, Patty.
I'll donate that back to the club. Thank you.
Thank you.
How about social media award? Do we have a social media award?
Yes, we do. It's the Elon Musk of Newport Rotary Club, Jim Wendell.
All right, great job, Jim. Okay, any other last minute announcements? Sonia.
I just wanted to mention, sorry, the Coastbusters Walk will be happening on Saturday, October 9th. That's going to happen, COVID or no, because it is outdoors. It is a place where we will be able to be socially distanced. If you have not yet registered to walk, the early bird special is good through tomorrow, which is $25 registration, guarantees you a t-shirt. If you don't register by tomorrow, you might get a t-shirt or you might not. And it also, the price goes up for to walk. It's a 3-mile walk, Saturday, October 9th at the Newport High School track. And if anybody in the Rotary Club would like to volunteer to help out, Diane is joined the committee. She's been meeting with us and helping us to make arrangements. If anybody else is interested, please reach out and let me know. We're always welcome new people to help out.
Thanks.
Richard?
Yes.
Richard.
Go ahead, Jim.
Richard. Yeah, that $5, go ahead and put it with the Grace Winds. Save the club a stamp.
All right. Thank you, Jim. They appreciate that. Any other announcements? Anything else going on? Well, let's, if we would, part of greeter duties we're trying to incorporate via Zoom is have the greeter take us in with the flag salute, take us out with the 5-way test, among other things. So Sonetta, if you can do and lead us in the 5-way test, and I'll remind John if you can mute everybody, and then we'll just hear just Sonetta reading the 5-way test, but it'll help resonate how much better it sounds that way.
All right. The 5-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And fifth, is it fun?
Fun. Okay. Last minute announcement. Next week, we're going to have Mary Kay Dahlgren and the Lincoln County Library District. Our greeters will be Sonia and Jim Graham. So make sure and tune in. John will send you a Zoom link for next week. So see everybody next week.